everybody, welcome back to my channel. So YCS Bologna is over and I just came back home and I want to give you the deck profile for the deck that I played at the event. And if you follow my stream, I think you know what I've played. Yes, I played Insect Pile. It's 60 card Battlewasp-Beetrooper-Raika pile with a lot of insects and a lot of things that now we are going to discover how it works. I'm pretty happy with how it performed after a lot of testing, after a lot of frustration on my live stream. As you could have seen, I think I found the most consistent way to play this deck, and I want to show you. So let's start with the deck profile. I prefer going through with the engine, so we start with the first engine, which is Battlewasp. Free Sting the Poison, your Stratos, so obviously you wanna play free, and free Rapier, your Simoon, so obviously you wanna play free. Now, then 2 Pin the Bullseye, Bird for Game, 2 Twinbow, 1 Arbalest, and 2 Battlewasp Wings. After a lot of testing, this felt like the most consistent way. I was running only 1 pin, but after a couple of testing, I noticed that sometimes I want a second, because if I'm forced to discard pin, then at that point I need to search for Arbalest, and Arbalest, if I search for Arbalest, I'm not able to make all the field that I need at that point. So yeah, I think this is, I mean, 2 pin rotation is still pretty good. Also, in the time, if you see pin in your hand, or if you're able to search for pin, you're able to win. I think we won at least 2 games at time thanks to pin the bird for 200. This was the Battlewasp engine. Now let's talk about the second one, which is obviously the Beetrooper engine. So we have double Scale Bomber, 1 Lancer, 1 Flapper, and 1 Flying Sting and 1 Landing. So Bomber is one of your best extender, just special summon when you summon an insect, and it's a good interruption because sometimes even just having it discarded in your hand with a 30C allows you to maybe play to your opponent turn to 0 and get rid of some of your opponent interaction. So it's still a good card, and it's part of your end board because this card comes back to your hand. Most consistently, if you started with this card in your hand, you can always get this card back. Lancer, this card is so good. This card is one of your best insect printed so far. Just the fact that it is a graveyard hate, it's not required that he put the card back just to special summon, because he first special summon and then put the cards on the bottom of the deck, so he can always get inside, get on the field, and when it's normal special, you can add a Beetrooper spell card. Usually you always want to add landing, sometimes you want to add Flying Sting if you already have landing, but most of the time you want to have landing. And lastly, Light Flapper. We need to talk about Light Flapper because I don't understand why people that are playing Insect are not running this card. This card is extremely important to give you a layered interruption, a layered board, because when you special summon this card, you can get back your Sting Lancer and Skill Bomber, so you're always able to have the most wide board possible with the most interruption possible, and still have Flying Sting in rotation live. Also, there are so many decks that don't like to have their graveyard distracted during their turn, like Fire King, like Kazamina, like even Tempai. Sometimes they don't want to get something put back in the bottom of the deck, so this card is still good, and having the Skill Bomber allows you to get it back. Also, when you special summon this card back with the Shikara King, you have an attack negate, and having attack negate means that Senpai is not able to kill you, because Chundra stops, can trigger. Then the Raika engine, 2 Evil Seed, 1 Beetle, 1 Butterfly, Wicked Butterfly, and 1 Hunting Dance. No Bloom, because I opted to run Wicked Butterfly just for the fact that this card is an insect, and so if you draw this card, you can just pitch it with Rapier and think there's something that you can't do with Bloom. So, and obviously, and when you start with the Evil Seed, adding Bloom or adding this card is the same, because if you add this card, you can just banish this card, trigger their effect, and then put it back to special summon Beetle. And if you have Bloom, obviously you banish Beetle and you put this card back. So yeah, this is pretty good, and also this card gives you a layer interaction, so it's still good. It's still key, because you, as a part of the combo, you need to banish 2 to a discard, so to trigger Resonance Insect, so still good. Still good. Now the Searcher, or whatever you want to call it, because I don't have a name for this kind of package, but it's 3 Retaliating Sea, 2 Resonance Insect, and 1 Gokipo. So these are cards that when they get sent from the field to the graveyard, they can add you something. In particular, Retaliating Sea can add you Reso, and can add you Gokipo, and it can add Cavalry, because it's still an insect with less than 50,000 attack. Also, this card is a great entrap, because when your opponent activates Allowed, they can use special summon this card, and most of the time they stop playing, because they have a marker on the field and they are not able to get rid of it. So pretty good. Resonance Insect is one of your is a great searcher, and you have a lot of ways to trigger Resonance Insect during your turn. But I prefer opting for 3 copies of Rotating Sea, because starting with Rotating Sea plus Extender is a much more linear line than starting with Resonance Insect plus Extender. Resonance Insect plus Extenders requires you to play Doomdozer, which we are playing, but in order to reach the point where you have Rapier plus discard, you need a couple of additional step and a lot of racers. So 3 and 2 are more than fine, and obviously 1 copy of Gokipo, because you don't need more than 1 usually. You can trigger this one only once per turn, different from what happened with these 3, because Rotating Sea and Resonance Insect are not once per turn in none of their effect, so you can keep abusing this card, putting it back on the field, sending it to the graveyard, add back, so still good. Now we have some general insect, general good stuff insect. 1 Garmantis Extender, just an extender. Sometimes you can search it with Gokipo, so I prefer playing this card over other stuff. It's just an extender, it's fine. Sometimes you want to have a additional extender. 1 copy of Praying Mantis. This card is good. This is extremely important to send it to the graveyard to have an additional bodies on the field. Actually, I think that out of all cards in my deck, this is the best pitch for Rapier, because if they somehow ash your first search, which I think they should, but that's not the point. If you have discarded the graveyard, you're able to just banish, create a token, and then secure away to keep playing. So great card. Cavalry, just to fuse into Extender, and you can fuse into the new fusion, which is part of your end board. So pretty good. Dozer, it's required for the Resonance Insect line, also it's an extender, so pretty good. And Bergram is our dear boss monster. I love Bergram. He wins so many games just for the fact that he can banish free, trigger Partisan, and wipe out completely the opponent board. So yeah, Bergram is extremely good. Now the spell. So consistency, we have free Armored Rebellion, which I don't know how they printed this card, because this is literally emergency teleport for insect. So thank you, because insect need this kind of support. And free small word. By playing 60 cards, I noticed that I had some issue with consistency, and when I added small word, I noticed that practically this deck can bridge with itself so well, especially Entrap. I will show you that later. But yeah, small word allows you to get that extra consistency that means you're not breaking that much anymore. You still break, but it's less of an issue breaking right now with small word than before small word. Obviously you're less good into draw, but that's why we are running this package, because we hate draw so much that we need to stop draw as much as we can. So free cross out, one called buy for draw, and if they decide to draw and resolve, we can see their hand and pitch something. Also this work with Mulcharmy 2, this work with Mulcharmy 2, this work with Mulcharmy 2. On the cutback we can use this card to steal something, so pretty good. We need to protect our combos as much as we want, as we can, so this is pretty good. Lastly, last two cards. One Foolish Burial, we can send Gokipo, we can send Prim Mantis, and we can send Bergram and keep going, so still good. And one Instant Fusion. I don't like this card that much, but sometimes, you know, it's just an extender, didn't know what to put as a 60th card, so I decided to still run one copy of Instant Fusion. It never came up, and usually I sell this card out in game 2 and 3, but it's okay. Sometimes when you open this card, it's pretty good. Entrap, we are running free Perm, free Ash Blossom, and cross out targets. One Fulas, one Purulia, one Draw, and one Nibiru. These are the cards that we hate the most, so I wanted to have 1/1/1 just to have it as a cross out target. Also, these three cards, this card can bridge so well with anything on the board, because this is a level 4, this is a level 4 that can bridge with the rotating C into any insect, so still good. Almost the same thing with this card, because you can bridge draw with Fuwalos and Fuwalos into any Battlewasp or any insect that you need, so good. Ash Blossom, I think is still the best enter, one of the best entrap that we have right now. Not the best, because the best entrap that we have right now probably is Dominus Purge Impulse, so but since we can play, it's good to play the other two best entrap, and also we need to use this card to stop the Witch Armies, so pretty good. And free Infinity Permanence, because come on, this is probably the second best entrap in the game. Okay, this was everything for the main deck. Let's talk about the extra deck. Synchro Package, Sachi, Diabolantis, and Partisan. Part of the combo, really strong, gives you an additional normal, so still good, and can burn the opponent, so good. One of the best insect support ever printed, sending Bergram on the 5th summon allows you to play around Nibiru so easily, so good card. And Partisan, this is an extremely cool boss monster. Even if it doesn't do anything by itself, it can be triggered by other cards, it can come back and pop the field, and it gives you a really strong play under Shifter, because if your opponent plays Shifter, you can easily make this card easily make this card, and at that point your opponent will face a 42,000 attack monster, because you have a 11 6 banish insect at that point, and it can be destroyed by card effect, and if somehow he is able to get rid of this card, it comes back and pop the wall field in damage step, so they are not able to quick synchro or get rid of anything. So this was one of the reasons why I decided to play this deck. Link package. So one skeleton soldier, we are not Raika card, so still good to run it. One Armaedorn, one Picofalena, one Mantis Monk, one Papiloperative, one Atipus, one Atlas, and one Stack Sovereign. I think this is a perfect ratio. The only card I never made in making the World Tournament was Atipus, but I still do believe that Atipus is still worth running. First, because it's kind of a generic link free, so it allows you to link away something bad that your opponent will give you, and it can just blank some bad card that you might not have an answer to, like a Chaining or some Floodgate or something. So Atipus is still a good card. I was running 2 Picofalena before, but then I decided to cut 1 Picofalena for adding Surfing Papillion, and it was a good choice because Surfing Papillion allows you to have a play under draw. Sometimes, not all the times, but we take what we can. Fusion, 1 Ultimate Crit Insect, 1 Heavy Cavalry, and 1 Saturnus. This is probably one of the best insect cards ever printed. It searches you for any Beetrooper card and can special summon any Beetrooper that is banished when something gets banished, so it allows you to trigger like Flapper, so pretty good. Part of the handboard, it can take a partisan, it can be destroyed by card effect. Play this card, please, this is so good. And Ultimate Crit Insect, you don't make this card that often anymore, or that much, but sometimes you just want to have this card just to get rid of your opponent cards and wipe your board, or to trigger Resonance Insect quicker, so it's still good to have around. And lastly, 1 Cicada King. This is part of your greedy handboard, but having this card is still good. You have a monster negate that can give you back something and can trigger Gokipo during the opponent turn. Come on, you wanna run it. Side, then a 2 copy of Fumalos, free thrust plus 2 targets, which are the barrier and Magical Deflector. I was debating between this and the ground. At the end of the day, I decided to opt for this because I was fearing Runic much more, so it was my decision. Probably this will become back the ground, but it's still a good card. 1 Rivalry, because come on, we are playing Insect Pile and we need to have the best Floodgate in the game for Insect. 2 Cosmic Cyclone, because we hate Floodgate and we hate Fire King Island, so we need to get rid of that card. 1 Duster, 2 Dark Ruin No More, and 2 Evilly. Great card, especially against Zamina some Zamina variants that are not Fire King. Extremely useful for the Voiceless Voice matchup. There wasn't a lot of Voiceless Voice around, but if you don't have this card versus Voiceless Voice, you are in a pretty bad position most of the time. And I don't like Labyrinth and I don't like Floodgate, so why not running that card? Okay, so this was the whole deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. I really enjoyed how this deck performed. I ended up my YCS with 5 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses. So for 2 points I wasn't able to make today too, but to be honest, I think that the 5 wins and 2 draws with the insect pile is a great accomplishment, and I'm really happy with how it performed and with by all the work that I put into this deck to make it work. But now I'm drained, so I think I want to get some rest from Yu-Gi-Oh for a couple of at least a couple of months. But I will still be around, so don't worry. Some general thing about the YCS. The event was extremely cool. I really like it. Not a lot of people. There was not a lot of delay between rounds, so it was good to have. It was keep going at a really nice pace, and I really enjoyed playing against most of my my opponents. I think the Yu-Gi-Oh community is getting better and better every year that pass. So, and I'm happy for this. Much more friendly and much more inclusive. So, pretty happy with that, and I hope it will continue moving forward. So this was everything that I wanted to tell you about my YCS. I will make a next video with the line, so stay tuned. And if you enjoyed, like and subscribe. And until next time, see you!